Hi, Terry here with HVAC Maintenance and Supplies. Today we're going to talk a little bit about humidifier maintenance. This is a whole house type humidifier, meaning that it's typically mounted on a furnace or some sort of an air handler and will add humidity throughout your entire house, which is obviously important from a health standpoint as well as the structural standpoint of your building. We're going to focus on the Aprilaire brand today. Most brands out there are similar. Aprilaire has a lot of them throughout the years that all change a little bit in style. Some are a bypass type, some mount right on the furnace themselves and you have a little fan that blows air into the ductwork. In any case, what you're going to see today will be very similar in most models. All type humidifiers have some sort of it's called a water panel. A lot of people refer to it as a filter, and we'll show you that. We sell all the Aprilaire and some of the Honeywell water panel replacements on our site. Now, I do recommend staying with the original Aprilaire brand, as they tend to be a little bit better quality of filter replacement. And if you look at your model, it's going to be stamped somewhere on your Aprilaire humidifier, and then you get to our site, you can just match up your model with the style or the part number of the actual replacement that you need. So let's get started today. As I said, most humidifiers have some sort of a cover on them that you're going to see up in the front. So what you want to do is figure out how to snap that front cover off. And that is going to typically expose your filter water panel or the water media, the pad, a lot of times they call that. So a lot of times what you'll see to tell if that needs to be replaced is you'll see it starting to get lined up. Typically you want to change those at least once a season, because you start getting musty smells throughout your house if you leave those in there. So usually there's a water hose that comes up to the top. Of course, you want to make sure that your power is off. There's usually a copper line that goes to the water feed of this. Sometimes there's a little saddle valve there. You can turn that off too to make sure that it doesn't come on while you're in the process of changing this. Usually snap that water line out of there. In some way there's going to be an insert here that houses the filter water panel. You want to pull that out of there. Clean up any of the buildup that you see on top of it. Typically, there's a distribution tray of some sort, and again, every model is going to be a little bit different. You want to pull that out to give you access to the water panel. Then you simply slide the old water panel out of that tray, clean up your tray, make sure that your drain port is opened up and clear, discard the old water panel. You can see these water panels here typically have a black spot or a red spot. That's the top. That's the way you want your water to be distributed down. Simply pull your new pad out of the box, slide it back in the way the old one was with that spot marker on top, reinstall your water distribution tray. Again, kind of inspecting it and making sure that all of your water distribution ports here are open and that your drain is open. There's a drain that goes down through the bottom, make sure that that port is open. One of the big reasons humidifiers fail to work is that there's a little water orifice on the incoming line. Sometimes you need to take a little pin and clean that out. And if you take this apart, you'll usually find that small orifice. One way to test if it's working is to turn your heat up and then turn your humidistat. Somewhere on the ductwork or upstairs will be the humidity temperature control. Turn that up so that it's asking for humidity. When the furnace comes on and heats, that's usually when this will add water, provided that the humidistat is calling. So after a period of having both of those on, you should notice some water, some excess water trickling out the overflow. The way that this works is it just distributes water across the panel. The air is going across and it picks up the humidity, and then some excess water runs out the bottom. The humidity is put into the air and then delivered through your house. So you simply put this back together the way that you had taken it apart. Snap that back into place, making sure that it's snugly fit in there. Get your water line back in place, and you can snap your cover back on. That's pretty much what's involved in changing that. Now, we sell these condensate pan treatment tablets. These are nice to have to keep your drain open from getting it slimed up, bacteria growing in there. You can drop a couple of those tablets down in the bottom of that distribution tray there to keep things clean and a lot of times it controls the odor pretty well too. Now most humidifiers, bypass type anyway, will have a damper on it here that you close in the summertime so that you're not bypassing cold air through the air conditioning season. You want to open that in the winter so that that air does bypass and go across the humidifier and essentially adding humidity to the house. Now most people ask, what should I set the humidistat at? Typically around 30% is common. Most humidistats will have some sort of an indicator on them for outdoor air temperature. I just tell people a lot of times, if it feels dry in your house, turn it up a little bit. If you're starting to notice moisture on the windows, turn that humidity set point down a little bit. A lot of them nowadays, the newer ones are all automated where they sense outdoor air temperature, they sense indoor air temperature, and then they readjust that set point accordingly, which is great. It's less hassle for most people. So that pretty much wraps up our segment of the April Air humidifier maintenance type. And again, we carry all of these condensate pan treatment tablets and the April Air water replacements in 2-packs or larger volume packs at a little better price. They can be purchased online at mainsupplies.com. That's www.mainsupplies.com. Hi, Terry here with HVAC Maintenance and Supplies. Today we're going to talk a little bit about humidifier maintenance. This is a whole house type humidifier, meaning that it's typically mounted on a furnace or some sort of an air handler and will add humidity throughout your entire house, which is obviously important from a health standpoint as well as a structural standpoint of your building. We're going to focus on the April Air brand today. Most brands out there